My parents told me I wasn't worth investing in. But years later, they regret everything. Hey everyone! I've decided it's finally time to share a personal story from my past. I'm Daniel, a 27-year-old guy, and I have a twin sister named Olivia. Growing up, Olivia and I were treated incredibly differently by our parents, almost like we weren't even siblings. My parents had this unwavering belief that Olivia was destined for greatness, academically brilliant, socially charming, always excelling in everything. Meanwhile, I was labeled early on as the family black sheep mainly because I was more into sports than academics. They saw my athletic pursuits as a distraction rather than talent or passion. Throughout my childhood, this favoritism was painfully obvious. Every birthday, Olivia's celebrations were grand and elaborate. She'd have sleepovers with her friends, laughing and gossiping all night, while I felt invisible, quietly fading into the background. Sometimes I'd get pulled into playing their tea party games, and as silly as it sounds, those moments were actually nice, brief glimpses into feeling included, even if it was out of pity or boredom from Olivia and her friends. Honestly, it felt like only my grandma truly saw me for who I was. She'd visit, bring along my favorite chocolates, and quietly slip me some pocket money with a wink, encouraging me to treat myself. She became the anchor in my otherwise turbulent childhood. But as we got older, my parents' favoritism transformed into emotional neglect and subtle bullying. They mocked my grades openly and dismissed any aspirations I expressed, crushing my self-esteem repeatedly. Despite excelling in sports, my parents prohibited me from joining extracurricular activities, insisting that I match my sister's academic intensity. It was maddeningly frustrating and profoundly demoralizing. One particular argument stands out clearly. When it came time to apply to colleges, they bluntly stated they wouldn't finance my education beyond community college. Olivia, on the other hand, had a fully funded college fund prepared for an expensive private university. My grandmother, thankfully, intervened with a fierce ultimatum, threatening to cut my mother out of her will unless they supported my education equally. Eventually, they gave in, but grudgingly. This battle marked a significant turning point. As I left for college, I finally experienced true freedom. No one constantly monitored my choices or compared my achievements against Olivia's. For the first time, I felt seen, not as the lesser sibling, but simply as myself. College life introduced me to graphic design, a passion I never knew I had. Inspired and motivated, I taught myself Photoshop and Illustrator through online tutorials, launching a side business designing logos for local companies. By graduation, my side hustle had evolved into a stable freelance business, something my parents couldn't even fathom for someone they'd labeled as the unsuccessful one. I moved into an apartment with friends, financially independent and emotionally stronger than ever before. Life finally seemed to be looking up. Meanwhile, Olivia, the golden child, was heading toward advanced studies in biology, or so my parents proudly reported. I had minimal contact with my family during those years, slowly letting go of the past and focusing on my personal growth. Therapy helped immensely, teaching me how to process and move past the deep wounds inflicted by years of emotional neglect. Yet, just when I thought I'd moved past family drama for good, an unexpected Facebook review praising my graphic design business suddenly pulled me back into their lives, revealing just how deeply their favoritism still ran. The unexpected Facebook review was written by one of Olivia's closest friends, a girl named Mia who'd recently started her own business and reached out to me for help with branding. Mia praised my graphic design skills extensively, mentioning how professional and creative I was. The review quickly gained attention, especially from people in my hometown. At first, I felt proud. My business had finally gotten public recognition. However, that pride soon turned into anxiety when my parents suddenly reached out, something they rarely did unless it involved Olivia. Their message was blunt and hurtful. They wanted to know if Mia's review was exaggerated or if I was genuinely running a successful design business. Instead of congratulating me, they questioned my success. The implication was clear. They couldn't believe I was capable of anything worthwhile without it being overstated or false. Their skepticism was another reminder of how little faith they had in me. Yet, it wasn't just my parents who reacted this way. Olivia reached out too, but with a surprisingly different tone. For the first time in our adult lives, she seemed genuinely curious about my work and success. Her message wasn't dismissive or skeptical, but rather intrigued. Although cautious, I agreed to a phone call with her, hoping this might be a chance to reconnect as equals. When Olivia called, our conversation started awkwardly, filled with hesitant small talk. Eventually, she opened up, confessing that our parents' relentless expectations had taken their toll on her, too. She admitted feeling pressured to live up to the perfect image they'd built around her, terrified to disappoint them or fall short of their lofty standards. For the first time, I saw my sister in a different light, not as the favored golden child, but as someone who also struggled under the weight of parental expectations. It was a startling realization our parents' favoritism hadn't just hurt me, it had also deeply impacted Olivia. Though hesitant, I shared my journey with her, how I'd built my business, the challenges I'd overcome, and the sense of fulfillment I'd found. Olivia listened attentively, expressing genuine admiration. It was a turning point in our relationship marked by newfound mutual understanding and respect. Still, as hopeful as this conversation was, I couldn't shake the feeling that deeper challenges awaited. Our family dynamic wouldn't change overnight, and I knew this moment of openness could lead to new complexities and emotional challenges. Following my unexpected conversation with Olivia, things started to shift in subtle ways. At first, our interactions remained cautious but gradually became more frequent and sincere. Olivia would occasionally send messages asking for design advice or simply checking in on how my day was going. These simple gestures meant a lot, highlighting a genuine effort to build a healthier sibling relationship. However, while Olivia and I were finding common ground, my parents continued to remain distant and skeptical. They consistently ignored or dismissed any mention of my business achievements, preferring instead to highlight Olivia's academic successes. Despite years of emotional distance, this persistent favoritism still had the power to sting deeply. During a family gathering around the holidays, the differences in our treatment became glaringly obvious once again. Our parents celebrated Olivia's acceptance into a prestigious graduate program with a lavish dinner and gifts while barely acknowledging my recent successes. Watching their obvious pride in Olivia filled me with a complicated mix of pride for her and deep sadness for myself. Yet, something remarkable happened that evening. Olivia noticed my discomfort and, to everyone's surprise, stood up for me openly. She gently but firmly pointed out that I deserved recognition, too, reminding our parents of the success and effort I'd put into my growing business. Her words shocked her parents into silence, their disbelief evident. This moment of advocacy from Olivia didn't solve everything, but it was incredibly validating. It showed me just how much Olivia had grown and how sincerely she wanted to mend our fractured relationship. After dinner, Olivia privately apologized for our parents' continued favoritism and emphasized her genuine pride in my achievements. For the first time, it felt as though we truly were allies navigating our complicated family dynamics together. Although our parents remained unchanged in their attitudes, this newfound bond with Olivia offered hope. It was a powerful reminder that growth, understanding, and support could arise even from the most challenging family environments. Despite the lingering hurt, I began to feel cautiously optimistic about the future, recognizing that meaningful change often starts with small, sincere steps forward. In the weeks following that family gathering, Olivia and I continued strengthening our bond. Our conversations grew deeper, shifting from cautious exchanges to genuinely supportive and meaningful interactions. For the first time in years, I felt I truly had a sibling, someone who understood and appreciated me not because she had to, but because she wanted to. During this period, my parents' attitudes remained frustratingly unchanged, still favoring Olivia's academic pursuits over my creative successes. But somehow their disregard began to hurt a little less. Knowing Olivia saw and valued my efforts was enough to lighten the emotional burden I'd carried for so long. One evening, Olivia suggested we collaborate on a project combining her research skills with my graphic design abilities. Initially hesitant, I agreed, curious about how our very different strengths might complement each other. To our mutual delight, working together turned out to be not only productive but deeply rewarding. The project was a success, and our joint effort earned recognition from Olivia's academic peers and my professional network alike. When our parents heard about this collaborative success, they were taken aback. Their confusion was evident. They struggled to comprehend how we, their two vastly different children, had managed to achieve something noteworthy together. While their reaction was tinged with skepticism, it no longer affected me negatively. Olivia and I had achieved something important. We'd proven, primarily to ourselves, that we could accomplish remarkable things when united. Emboldened by our success, Olivia and I started openly supporting each other more frequently. We attended each other's events and presentations, shared each other's achievements on social media, and actively celebrated each other's accomplishments. Our strengthened sibling bond brought a new sense of stability and emotional fulfillment to both our lives. Yet, as positive as these developments were, I knew the journey wasn't over. Our family dynamic was still complicated, and lingering issues couldn't be resolved overnight. Still, this newfound connection with Olivia offered real hope and taught me a valuable lesson. True validation comes from mutual respect and genuine understanding, not from those unwilling or unable to see your worth. As the months went by, Olivia and I continued to support each other, solidifying our newfound sibling bond. Our friendship became stronger, and the mutual respect we shared provided comfort in times of emotional strain. Despite our parents' persistent lack of acknowledgement toward my accomplishments, their favoritism felt less impactful. Knowing Olivia genuinely respected and valued me was enough to ease the sting of their neglect. Unexpectedly, a major event brought our family dynamic sharply back into focus. Olivia received an invitation to present her research at a prestigious international conference. Naturally, our parents were ecstatic, already boasting about their brilliant daughter's upcoming success to anyone who would listen. Surprisingly, Olivia insisted I attend the conference with her, not as a mere spectator, but as a collaborator and equal partner. I was taken aback by her insistence, deeply moved by her genuine desire to share the spotlight. Our parents strongly objected to my involvement, questioning the legitimacy of my role and expressing their usual skepticism about my capabilities. Olivia, however, stood her ground firmly. She made it clear that if they refused to recognize my contributions, she would withdraw from the event altogether. This bold stance shocked everyone, including me. Her willingness to jeopardize a significant professional opportunity for the sake of fairness and respect spoke volumes about how far our relationship had come. Reluctantly, our parents conceded, though their displeasure was evident. As Olivia and I prepared for the conference, our excitement overshadowed our negative sentiments. Working closely together, our teamwork flourished. Olivia's analytical prowess combined seamlessly with my creative vision, making our presentation uniquely compelling. When the day of the conference arrived, Olivia and I stepped onto the stage together, confident and united. Presenting our collaborative work to an international audience felt surreal yet immensely gratifying. The audience responded enthusiastically, and our presentation was widely praised for its innovation and teamwork. Afterwards, Olivia and I celebrated privately, reflecting on our incredible journey and the hurdles we had overcome together. Despite lingering challenges within our family, this moment of shared success reinforced a powerful realization: genuine validation and self-worth come from within and through those who truly appreciate and understand us. Our strengthened bond wasn't just a triumph over familial favoritism, it was proof of our resilience and mutual respect. The success of our joint presentation significantly transformed the dynamic between Olivia and me. Back home, news about our achievements spread quickly within our social circles, and for the first time, people started to view me independently, not as Olivia's overshadowed sibling but as someone talented in my own right. Interestingly, our parents' attitudes began shifting subtly after witnessing the positive reactions from peers and colleagues. They struggled to fully embrace my accomplishments, yet they no longer openly dismissed them. Olivia noticed this change too and encouraged me to remain optimistic, seeing it as progress. However, just when things seemed to be settling into a better rhythm, a new challenge arose. Olivia was offered a prestigious internship abroad, one that would significantly advance her academic career. It was a fantastic opportunity, and I felt proud and genuinely happy for her. Yet, I couldn't help but feel anxious about how her departure might impact the fragile progress we'd made as siblings. When Olivia broke the news to our family, our parents were ecstatic, immediately planning celebrations and proudly sharing the news. My reaction was mixed. I felt joy for Olivia's well-deserved success, but also sadness at the thought of losing our newfound closeness. Sensing my mixed feelings, Olivia pulled me aside privately, reassuring me that distance wouldn't weaken our bond. She promised regular communication, emphasizing how important our relationship had become to her. Her heartfelt words reassured me significantly, reminding me that true connections aren't easily broken by physical distance. As the date of Olivia's departure approached, our family gathered for a farewell dinner. The atmosphere was filled with genuine warmth and pride, not only for Olivia's achievements but also subtly recognizing our joint accomplishments. For the first time in my life, I felt fully included and valued within my family. Saying goodbye at the airport was emotional, filled with promises to stay connected and continue supporting each other's journeys. Watching Olivia board the plane, I felt a powerful sense of hope and gratitude, recognizing how far we'd both come. Despite lingering complexities, our strengthened relationship stood as undeniable proof of resilience, growth, and mutual support. As Olivia's plane took off, I stood at the terminal, watching until it disappeared into the sky. A deep sense of pride mixed with lingering sadness settled over me. I knew this wasn't a goodbye, it was just another step in both of our journeys. But for the first time in years, I felt like I had gained something rather than lost. The days that followed felt strangely quiet without Olivia around. Our parents were still caught up in celebrating her internship, but for once I didn't feel invisible. I had carved my own space, built my own career, and most importantly, I had formed a relationship with my sister that went beyond our family's biased lens. True to her word, Olivia kept in touch. We had frequent video calls, updating each other on our lives, our work, and even our struggles. She confided in me about the challenges of living abroad, and I shared my growing success in my business. Though we were miles apart, our bond remained stronger than ever. Meanwhile, my business continued to flourish. More clients reached out, many of whom had heard about me through word of mouth. It was a slow but steady climb, and I no longer sought validation from my parents. I had built something meaningful on my own, and that was enough. Then something unexpected happened. My parents reached out to me, not with skepticism or dismissal, but with genuine interest. They asked about my work, my projects, and even suggested visiting me to see what I had built. It wasn't a grand gesture, nor did it erase years of favoritism, but it was something. A small step forward. Update. It's been a year since Olivia left for her internship, and things have continued to change in ways I never expected. My relationship with Olivia remains strong, and we've even discussed future projects we could collaborate on. As for my parents, they haven't completely changed, but they acknowledge me more than they ever have before. Small steps. Looking back, I've realized that the validation I once craved from my family was never what I truly needed. I needed to believe in myself first, to build my own success, and to recognize my own worth. My journey hasn't been easy, but it's mine, and that makes all the difference. To anyone struggling with family favoritism or feeling overlooked, know this: your value isn't defined by the recognition you do or don't receive. It's in the effort you put in, the passions you pursue, and the people who genuinely appreciate you. And sometimes the relationships that matter most are the ones you build on your terms. Hope you enjoyed this story as much as I do. Help this small channel grow by hitting that like button, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Every bit of support means the world. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.